Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 26 Beta 1. iOS 26 Beta 1 is available to developers, and iOS 26 Public Beta 1 will probably be out by the end of the month or early July. Now, iOS 26 dropped support for the iPhone XR, XS, and XS Max, but it still supports all the other devices supported by iOS 18. We're running it on the iPhone 11 here, for example, and it's supported all the way up to the latest phones with the iPhone 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max, and of course future iPhones as well. Now this came in at a very large 15.52 gigabytes on my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and anytime you jump to a new beta or from a beta to a public release, you're going to reinstall the whole OS. But it was about the same size on all these devices as well. Along with iOS 26, Apple also released iPadOS 26 Beta 1, macOS 26 Beta 1, tvOS 26 Beta 1, visionOS 26 Beta 1, watchOS 26 Beta 1, along with an AirPods Beta update as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, then we'll go down to General, then About. As you can see, the build number is 23A5260N, and this is an early preview of upcoming features and apps, and definitely will have some bugs in it. As far as features, well, we do have a new modem update, so hopefully that helps with overall connectivity. And as far as new features, well, there's a lot of them. This is a huge redesign, and you may already see some of that here. Apple is calling this liquid glass, so you can see the overall design a little easier when you go into Control Center, and depending on your background, the overall contrast seems to be okay where I can read this, but you can turn this off as well. I'll show you that in a moment. It adapts to the environment based on what you have here, and if we go into music, you can see the menu bar at the bottom sort of shrinks as you scroll. It's reflecting the glass in the background, and you see that as I move this across the screen here. So as I move it across some of the background, you can see the transparency or translucency in my folder. So I really like the look of that. You may not, but you also have the option to make everything completely glass. Press and hold on the home screen, then go to Customize, and just like you could change in iOS 18, you can tint the icons, but you can now switch it to clear. So completely clear if you'd like, but it is a little bit difficult to tell between different apps this way. But it picks up the background and sort of is a little transparent and carries through. Now, if we switch this back, I do have it on transparency or glass mode as we have here. We go into tinted, you'll see some additional options, but if we go back to dark mode, it will stay and look sort of like it was before, but with different icons as well. So Apple redesigned the mail icon, pretty much all the icons to have a little bit more depth, more glass, and you can see through the dock also. Another thing they changed, of course, is the search area. They've changed the overall menus. Everything looks a little bit different, and it does need to be refined still as this is an early beta, but overall it looks pretty good. If we go into music, you'll see the home bar here. It just fades away since we no longer need it. And if you really hate the way this looks, well, technically you can disable it in accessibility. If we go into accessibility, under display and text, we can go to reduce transparency, and if we go home, all the transparency goes away. So it makes it a little bit more contrasty, and in the control center, of course, you can see it looks a little bit different, but it's easier to see as it's not picking up the background. So if you want to turn that off and you don't like it, that's a new option as well under accessibility. Now the control center does get a few updates here. One of them is a new reminders button. So if we press on it here, you'll see that it pops in a reminder, and then we can create a new reminder straight from here. We also have the option here with some small submenus. If we press and hold, maybe on Wi-Fi, you'll see them pop out, or maybe we'll tap on AirDrop, you'll see them pop out as well, and a bunch of little submenus as well. So some new interactions, and it looks just a little bit different. Also under music, if we tap on it, it looks a little bit different. Again, it's translucent and carries across to things such as the lock screen. If we go to the lock screen, of course, you can see my notifications, so let's swipe them off. Tap on the album art, and it has a new look to it. It's got a really nice look, I think, overall. Some people may not like it, but I think it looks pretty good. You'll see the clock is a little bit different as well, and that comes with some new customizations. Press and hold on the lock screen, and then you can go to Customize, and you'll see this here, where we can resize this. Just grab it and shrink it. It doesn't matter what the wallpaper is. And then we have a new option here you may have already noticed, but this works on custom photos where it can add depth, such as a spatial photo. So let's try that out. So we'll tap Done here, and let's add one. Also, as you're adding wallpaper, you can see it's a little bit different as far as the design at the top. So it's animated even with photo shuffle. And as I scroll down, you'll see there's only one iOS updated wallpaper, and that's for iOS 26. So they're not bringing anything else back. Hopefully they add some more in the future. And if I select this photo and tap this icon here, it will actually generate a spatial scene. Give it just a moment, and now it's spatial with some depth. You can sort of look around, and it has depth to it that's added to your lock screen. We can tap Add just like you normally could before, customize the home screen or lock screen. And of course, if we go in here, we can pair this. We can also change the gradient, change the color, or just pair the lock screen to what it was before. We'll tap Done here. We'll switch it maybe to Do Not Disturb, and then we'll go into it. And you'll see here it moves around as I move the phone, and it has this depth to it. If we go home to the home screen, it moves around a little bit, but it's not quite as distracting as before. So on the lock screen, it moves some. You'll see it stopped. So again, this is a little bit buggy, but it is an early beta, and it's very impressive. Let me switch the wallpaper back. And one thing I noticed is when I switched the wallpaper initially for this video, it carried across things such as Do Not Disturb and also my dark icons. I didn't have to go in and switch it this time. So instead of going into Edit and customizing all of that, it now just did it on its own. Now, one other thing you'll be very happy about if you didn't like the Photos app is it gets a redesign. You'll see it looks pretty familiar here. If we tap on Collections, it switches over to what it looked like before. Of course, you can customize it the same way. It looks very familiar. But if we switch back to Library, we can just go into it, maybe go into this screenshot, delete it, and you'll see again the menu's a little bit different. Delete the photo, and it just goes away, but it looks very familiar, but then has some extra options in the upper right. If we tap on the menu here, it just pops out and gives us the options we had before. With Filter, we can filter our photos. We also can view options, and then also go into Sort by Recently Added. So that's something they've changed, and it just looks a little bit different. Also, those spatial photos, you can create those in here as well. Now, if I go into this photo, this is of my backyard, you'll see if I tap on it, we have this little icon here. Tap on it, we can generate a spatial scene. You'll see as we move around, it has depth to it now. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing this, but it looks almost 3D and like it goes into the phone. So this is something that's very impressive. If you don't like it, just turn it off. Now, also on the main screen, as I scroll, you'll see the menu changes. And if I go to search, it will generate relevant video thumbnails as well. So video of car. And we've got those video thumbnails already here, and this gives you an idea of what it looks like. So this will continue to improve, and I actually really like what they've done with the Photos app now, sort of given us a compromise from before to now with more customization. To go along with Photos, Apple has completely redesigned not only the app icon, but the app itself. If we go into the camera, let me bring in the iPhone 11 here, just so we have something in the background, you'll see it looks completely different. If we tap on the menu in the upper right, it brings up a different menu in the bottom here that's glass and reacts to what's behind it. And then if we tap on the screen, it changes. I tapped on the flash here. You can turn it on or off. And then we have our options as well for things such as the format that we're recording a video in. And the same is true if we switch over to Photos. So if we tap the menu in the upper right, now we have all of our things such as our aspect ratio, styles, timer, and live. So all of those things look a little bit different, again, with our different formats, if we want it in RAW with 48 megapixels or HEIC at 24 megapixels. So the same is true if we flip this around. We've got the same menus with night mode and everything else. So it's really nice as far as the update goes, makes it much easier to see everything on the screen, and I think it's easier to get into the different options as well. In addition to this, there's another option. So if maybe you're in the camera and we go into Settings, scroll down to Camera, within Camera, scroll to the bottom, we have a new option for a lens cleaning hint. It says it displays a suggestion when the camera lens should be cleaned. So it will improve overall image quality. So I just turn that on. And if you need to clean the lenses, of course, just simply clean them. And I do that regularly anyway, but if you haven't, and maybe you didn't know you had some dirt on it, it should help improve it overall. Now, Apple has updated the keyboard in native apps so far. Now, I'm sure others will be able to opt into this, but if we slide over here, maybe go into Notes, Notes does get a little bit of a redesign, but you'll see the keyboard here. It's redesigned a little bit. It doesn't really function any differently. And you can say, hello, how are you today? And you'll see it still works pretty well overall, and it's responsive with good haptic feedback. But in general, there isn't a whole lot new with Notes, but the keyboard itself has that update. But it does support one thing that's pretty neat as far as an update, and it supports Arabic and English multi-script keyboard options. Now, one thing I think a lot of people will be happy about is some updates to battery. If we go into settings and go to battery, under battery, you'll see it says 91%, last charged 46 minutes ago, and iOS 26 so far has used a lot of battery. While we're waiting for this, let's go ahead and scroll down here and you can see we have new options. So we have battery health, of course, with all the same options. And then if we go to charging, pretty much the same thing. But if we go to power mode, depending on your phone, you may have the option for adaptive power. It says when your battery usage is higher than usual, iPhone can make small performance adjustments to extend the battery life, including slightly lowering the display brightness or allowing some activities to take a little longer. Low power mode may turn on at 20%, and that's where it was really meant to use, at 20% or so. So not all phones have that. However, if we plug into it, if you have an iPhone 15 or newer, I believe 15 Pro and newer, give it a moment to start charging, it will actually tell us how much time there is left to finish. Now it takes a moment to calculate this, and I did have to charge it earlier because it drained so fast, but let's give it just a moment here. As we're checking or waiting for this, if we scroll down, you'll see daily usage. It says you're using more battery today than you usually use. If we view all battery usage, it's got a nice new graph that breaks it down. It says 5 hours and 43 minutes of screen active time, 18 hours and 16 minutes of screen idle time. It says get an idea of the apps you're using. It gives more information and even breaks it down per app on screen. So I think this is a great update here, gives us a lot more information and is much easier to understand. If we scroll back here, you'll see if we scroll to the top, it now says 43 minutes to 100%. Now, I haven't seen this on the lock screen anywhere, but at least it's there on the battery options here. So if you want to see how much time is left, it will tell you, and it even breaks it down up to 80% if it's below that as well. Back within settings, if we scroll down to privacy and security, we have a new option here. If we scroll down, you'll see we can now easily access our blocked contacts. So it says 87 unknown. You can add a blocked contact right from here, and then you can edit as well if you'd like. Some nice animations there, but then you can go into 87 unknown contacts, see them, unblock them, or just leave them alone. So that's a nice little update, making that easier. Now, if we go back and then we go under sound and haptics and settings, there's an update here. You now have the option for a new mode that we don't know exactly what it does, but if we scroll down, we have a late night mode. So we can turn that on. It's fairly late. We don't know what it does, but it's an option that's here. So something that's a little bit different. Also, if you have a Bluetooth mic connected, you now have the option to select that. So you can select that as an audio device while you're in here and then utilize that. And you can see that under microphone. So if you want to find your microphone, maybe you want to use something externally, you'll have that option. If we go into clock, they've updated this as well if you set alarms. So let's find the clock app here. I don't think I have it on the home screen. So if we go to clock, go into the clock app, you'll see if we go to alarms, I have a few different alarms here. And if I go into this one, we now have the option to snooze the alarm and then change the snooze duration. So if we want the snooze duration to be 15 minutes, that's the maximum, down to 1 minute. So you can now set that to whatever you'd like. And then of course, select it, and you can do that for all of them or just one of them. Now there's quite a few apps that get an update. One of them is Safari, and you'll see here now we have the bar at the bottom where we type everything in. So you'll see this is iOS and an overview of all the different OSs from today. And if we go into our menus, you'll see it just pops out there. We can go to our bookmarks, our new tab, and as we scroll, it sort of shrinks away and disappears, just leaving more of the screen visible. As we bring it back, we've got our menu options here. So all of the things we had before with hide distracting items, turn off content blockers, play all animations, and everything else. So all of that is here. And then of course, you've got all of your different tab options as well. So pretty much what we had before, but with a new design. I really like it, very smooth animation, and you can see it sort of changes with whatever's behind it as well. It reminds me a little bit of iOS 7 in that sense. Now the phone app gets a major update, and you may notice throughout how laggy this is from time to time. The phone is very hot and we're barely doing anything. So just keep that in mind if you wanted to try it yourself, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So within the phone app, it has a new style where it says share your name and photo. I thought I already did that, but you'll see that here. And we have some new updates with monograms. So we can change that to whatever we'd like. There's a bunch of different options now. We can customize it, change the poster that they have now, and customize it with things such as name and photo sharing here. You'll see that it's on, and you can select contacts only. So it's customizable with a photo, or you can use an avatar. We'll select that, it should set it, and go back to the main screen. Now you'll see at the top here, this is actually my brother, and we press and hold on it, and then we can go to message, call, or mail. If I go ahead and call my phone, there's an update as far as the look, but if I tap on the keypad, you can see that as well. So it looks a little bit different, but let me give myself a call and I'll show you a couple other options. So as a call is coming in, if I select to pick it up, I've picked it up, tap on it here. Let me go ahead and mute it on both sides. You can see my contact photo here. And then I have some more options in the bottom left. If I tap the bottom left, we now have options to hold assist. So maybe I'm on a phone call with someone and I've been put on hold. We can do hold assist, exit the phone app, and then easily go into something else, and it will give us a notification once it's ready. We also have the option, of course, for call recording, but now live translation. So maybe if you speak in a different language, maybe Spanish, someone else speaks in Spanish, you speak in English, you have a few different options now to go from French, German, Portuguese, or Spanish, and then have it auto-translate in real time. They could speak Spanish, you'll hear what they say in Spanish and their native language, and then switch it over to English on its own. So it will actually do this in real time on the fly and translate everything for you. That's fairly universal throughout the OS, and that goes across to things such as messages as well. So you have those options all built into phone with this new design. If we go into FaceTime, we have a similar update there as well. Within FaceTime, you can see it looks completely different. You may have a video here that's within the actual photo instead. So these will play real-time videos in the future. And then, of course, you can place a call to it. And let me show you what that looks like as well. So we'll place a call to this one, and we have a redesigned interface. So again, a little bit different. Tap the three-dot menu. We have live captions to transcribe the conversation in real time, whether that's a translation or something else. And you can see this is very laggy right now, and it's using a lot of power, but it is a beta, and I don't really expect anything else other than that with the first beta. In the upper right, we have some menus as well. And one thing I left out on the phone side that you also get is the ability to go into your menu and see unknown callers, go to spam, or manage filtering. And if we go to manage filtering, we have some options here. We now have screen incoming calls, and this works across the phone app as well, where calls from unsaved numbers will be asked for more information before the iPhone rings. It will actually ask who it is, and if they respond normally and you don't know who they are, you'll see that live transcribed on your lock screen or home screen, and then you can choose to pick up the phone or just hang up. It will also move to unknown callers if you'd like. If we go back into the phone options, we can go down to phone as well. So if we go under phone here, you'll see we have the exact same options and screen incoming calls. Call blocking and identification, of course, we have silent spam callers, and then call identification out of email, where it says allow call blocking and identification apps to block calls and provide caller ID. So depending on what you're using, you can use that across the system, and I think that's a great update. Of course, you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's available on some phones. If we go into messages, within messages, you can already see I have a background. So it looks a little bit different. So as I scroll, it goes behind the messages bubble here at the bottom. And then if I tap at the top here, we have a new option for background. So we have photos, links, and documents. But if we want to switch to a different background, we can do that. So maybe Aurora here. And we have different styles we can switch between, purple and pink, but we'll select the green Aurora, select it as the background, go back, and give it a moment. Now, I found that some of these don't work just yet. Again, it may be because it's a beta, but if we go back into this, switch back to water, it is animated, and we have a light or dark style. Again, we'll select that, go back, and we've got water in the background. So that's a nice little update and something new. If we press and hold within a bubble here, we can select. So we can now select not just the entire thing, but just little parts of the text as well. We couldn't do that before. We had to select the entire message within a bubble. You also have the option within group calls to send or receive Apple Cash, and you can also create polls. So maybe you're in a different conversation, whether it's with one person or many people, you can ask them, do you like iOS 26? iOS 18 is better. Neither. There we go. And then we can send that and it creates a poll and then you can select one. So I'll select this one. It shows who selected it. And then you could vote on maybe where to hold a party or something along those lines. So that's a nice little update there. You can also better differentiate who's speaking in a group text, and also you can add a contact button in groups as well. In addition to these features, if we go back into settings and then go to our messages options, scroll all the way down, you'll see there's a new option to send photo previews. It says send lower quality previews before the full photo. Only the preview will be sent in low data mode. So that's a new option. If you want to use that, you can maybe save a little bit of data or just have things load a little faster if you're having issues with that. And if we scroll up again, you'll see the same options we had before with screen unknown senders. So again, it allows you to do that, hide notifications and more messages to the unknown senders. If we go back into the message, go back to the main menu here. So if we go back in the upper right, we have a new menu and you'll see all of the things from unknown senders, again, spam, recently deleted, drafts, and then manage filtering that brings us right back to settings. So you can see all of those here in an easier way to find it. Music gets some nice updates also. If we go into music, not only do we have the redesign, like I mentioned before, but you'll see that we have recently played. But if I go to the library, we can now pin albums or songs at the top. If I scroll down a little bit here, you'll see I have an album here. If I press and hold, I can then pin this album to the top and add it to what we had before. Now, if I'm playing a song, so maybe I'll go into this one. We'll maybe tap this one here. This song is playing, and we now have a new option where it mixes to the next song. So that's actually in our settings, but if we go into settings, you'll see we have something new. So if we go to song transitions, we have a new option for something called auto mix. It says song transitions at the perfect moment based on analysis of the key and tempo of the music. So it would, instead of just crossfading, it will sort of transition more like a DJ could do this. We've seen this in other apps as well, and it looks like they've added it here. Of course, if we go back into music, there's another option that goes along with translation. So if I find an album that's maybe in Spanish, it should translate the lyrics. So maybe I'll play this song here, go into it, and then we'll turn on lyrics. In real time, it can translate these lyrics. So let's see if there's an option for it. I've seen that it can do this. I haven't actually seen this work yet, so it may not be part of this update, but let's go back into settings, see if we can find it. Now within the lyrics option, if we go into that, we now have pronunciation and we'll also have translation. I'm not able to get this to work just yet, but if we go back in, underneath what it is, it should translate it in real time to whatever your language is. If we go into the options, of course, everything else seems to be about the same, and we have a new option here or icon for those fades into the next song. So that's something that's really nice just to have that option. That's something I'll be testing out, see how it works with auto mix. Within podcasts, they've updated a couple small features. If we go into this podcast, we'll go ahead and go into the podcast itself. You'll see that we have the 1x speed option. If we tap on this, we have a couple new options. We have new speed adjustments to 0.8, 1 times, 1.3, 1.5, 1.8, or 2. We also have the option now to enhance the dialogue. So maybe there's a lot of background noise. It should bring out the enhanced dialogue just like the Apple TV will on movies and TV shows. Now, I'm not sure if you saw this before, but there's a new Games app that they've added to iOS. It's installed by default, and you'll see it says, "Welcome to Apple Games." We can play, connect, and discover. Here's my brother actually beating me in Katamari Damacy, and then it says continue playing, friends are playing, and more information with things with suggestions. And then we have an arcade button. We also have a library button down at the bottom to see the games we've played before. So it takes a moment to load, and then you can see things such as your achievements and more. So it's a nice little update. I'm not sure I'll use it, but it may be great as Apple gets more and more into gaming. In addition to this, we have a new preview app. So the same preview app that we have on Mac, they've brought over to iOS. So this is an example I had earlier, but if we swipe back or go back here, you'll see different photos that I had earlier. If I go back into the one I had, we can then of course go into it, change it, crop it, whatever we'd like. We have the option to mark it up. And then also in the upper right, we have some options for visual intelligence or adjust the size, rotate, flip vertically, and then of course exporting it. So if we want to export this, we can share it to files or anything else. So all the same sorts of options you have in preview. Also within Notes, If we go and share something, we now have one more option to export as Markdown. So it now fully supports Markdown, and if you want to utilize that, you can export it in Markdown now. If we go into Maps, there's updates as well. In Maps, it says, see where you've been. Let Maps remember the places you visit so you can easily find them again. Visits are end-to-end encrypted, cannot be read by Apple, and will appear on all of your synced devices. So you don't have to utilize this, but it is an option now. So we'll go ahead and allow it, and it says, how long do you want Maps to keep your visits? Forever, 1 year, or 3 months. I think we'll do 3 months for now. Tap continue. Now Maps also has the ability to learn your overall routine through using it regularly. It already does that a little bit, but now it can know maybe that you're going to work Monday through Friday or a few different days a week, and then notify you ahead of time that there's traffic and you may need to leave a little earlier. So that's been updated as well. And there's new incident report types, but I'll show you that in CarPlay in just a moment. And also within the map settings, you can see here at the top, if we go under locations, we can just turn off visited places and it won't give that information or save that for you. Now, as far as CarPlay, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now we're in CarPlay and it has an updated design to go along with liquid glass, so you can see it looks pretty much like you would expect, but now it gives you more information at a glance compared to before. It also supports large text for accessibility and also has the option to react to a message with tapbacks. So if someone is messaging you, you can respond with a tapback. However, I'm not sure if that will be distracting or not. In addition to that, it also has widgets now similar to Standby. So if you want to use those instead of maybe a map, you can set those. Now, when it comes to Apple Intelligence, we'll go over a few things here and then we'll jump back to some updates with apps. Visual Intelligence gets a big update, but first this goes along with screenshots. So maybe we'll go into Music, we'll go into this here, we'll screenshot, and the overall screenshot menu is a little bit different. So we have the option to use the check mark and save the screenshot, delete it just like before. But in the upper left, we can of course close out of it. And if we go back into it, down at the bottom, you can see the visual intelligence options. So we can highlight to search, ask with ChatGPT, or do an image search using Google. So maybe we'll highlight to search. We'll see what this is here and see what it finds. So swipe up for image search, takes just a moment, and now it gives us more information. So that's something they've updated. You can use visual intelligence throughout, but again, you have a new menu here as well for screenshots. To go along with Apple Intelligence, we also have an update with shortcuts. If we go into shortcuts, and we do have an updated icon here, within shortcuts, we have some updates. If we go into Gallery, you'll see that we can now use a model of AI within our shortcuts. So if we go into this, I already set up morning summary, but you'll see action items from meeting notes, haiku, leftover recipes, summarize a PDF, reminders roulette, get started with language models, and then we have a couple other things, document review and ASCII art. So we can go into this, check this, use a model to draw you some ASCII art. So if we go into that, we'll go back, we'll go into our library, and then go into our morning summary, have it run, give it just a second here, see if it does anything, but it may take just a moment. And this is the first time running it, so it could be a little bit slow, but you'll see here, morning report, cloudy conditions, high of 75 degrees Fahrenheit, wind direction, and more. So quite a few things they're adding to shortcuts. If you'd like me to go into depth and different things where you can create images and more, let me know in the comments below, and I'll create a separate video for shortcuts as well. Mail also gets a little bit of a redesign. If we go into Mail, you'll see it's been changed a little bit with the menus being changed to what they are in iOS 26. I did get a cleanup recommendation where it says iCloud Mail can help you free up storage and reduce incoming messages. So we can get recommendations, go into it, and you'll see it says get recommendations or not now. So we'll go ahead and get recommendations, and preparing your recommendations. You will soon start seeing recommendations. So now back in the Mail app, you can see it says downloading one message. Tap the three-dot menu in the upper right. You've got all of your normal options. And we also have iCloud Mail Cleanup. So we have that option here. We'll tap on that. Again, give it just a moment to load here. And it says focus on messages you want to see and save cloud storage. It's still setting up, but then you'll have this option here. And in the bottom left, we have filtered by, and if I tap on this, we have more options for flagged, to me, or CC'd to me, only with mail attachments, only from VIP, or only mail sent today. If we slide over, you'll see some new animations as well. So those are new. And if we slide the other direction, again, new animations. So a nice little update here. Now, of course, with Apple Intelligence, we have Image Playground. So if we go into this, this has been updated. If we go into New Image, Give it just a moment here. We have some different styles. Under style, you'll see that we now have ChatGPT, Genmoji, illustration, animation, and sketch. If we want to select maybe ChatGPT, we have some other options: oil painting, watercolor, print, anime, or vector. So we'll go ahead and select any style, and let's see what we've got. Let's see if it will do a Porsche 911 at the beach, and see if it will allow that, as it wouldn't before with the regular models here built into the phone. Again, give it just a second here. And we have more suggestions down at the bottom as well, but it may take a moment. And while we're waiting for that, if I go to show more, you can see some other options here with expressions, costumes, and more. So quite a few things in here, and it actually generated it. So we'll save that, give it a little check there, and it looks just like I would expect an older 911 at the beach. And within messages, if we go into our options here, scroll down, we have Genmoji. Genmoji now have the option to use mix emoji. So maybe we've got a little flower pot here, and maybe we've got this here. We can show more, and maybe a little castle in the background. So it's Genmoji, we could describe something, and now it can combine those things all at once, just like you could do with Image Playground before. So give it just a moment here to complete, and then it should finish. But again, we can go in here, maybe give it a thumbs up as well. Again, give it a moment. It's getting extremely hot when running this as well, just like it typically does. So just keep that in mind. We'll give it a moment to finish here. And if we swipe over, we've got a couple different options, but you'll see in this image, it's generated all of that. And we can send it here, just like that. And maybe we'll put this face on top of it, and you'll see that here. So we have all of these options. And then of course we can go back to our poll, add a choice, go back into Genmoji here, and continue to describe whatever you'd like. So create this and continue to use that based on what your needs are for Genmoji. I find I never use it, but you may love it. Now, if we go into the Journal app, Apple has updated this app as well. We'll go ahead and unlock, and you'll see now on the main screen, we have the option to add additional journals. So we can create more than one journal. So this is a new journal, and we'll just tap the check mark there, and now we have multiple journals. So we have a new one, we can add whatever we'd like, and then if we go into the plus option, we have an updated dialog box. So it says private access to journaling suggestions. Your moments are shown here, but Journal can only access the items you select. So we'll tap OK. So with the new entry options, we can select this one, and this was actually a line that was for the Switch 2. If we go back out, now on the main screen, if we go into the map, you'll see on the left side here, when I was at Apple Park, I went to Google, I visited for Samsung Unpacked, and you'll see this here. So you can go right into there where I journaled, and it's placed all over the world based on your location. So if you like to use the journaling app, it's here. It's also added to iPad, but we'll talk more about that in a future video. Now, if we go into reminders, there's some updates there as well. So within the Reminders app, let me find that. Right here, you'll see it looks a little bit different. This can also utilize Apple Intelligence and suggest things such as tasks, grocery items, and follow-ups based on emails or other texts on your device. It can also automatically categorize related reminders into sections with lists. You have a new action button here. You can quickly create a reminder. And then also, there's a Reminders Control Center button that I showed you earlier. So if you want to use reminders like that, not a lot of updates here. They haven't done a whole lot with it, but they've changed it just a little bit. And also, if we create a new one, some of these animations are just really nice. So maybe we'll add this one or go back in. You can see what they look like. So really nice updates as far as the animations go. Wallet gets some updates. So if we go into the Wallet app here, you'll see it has a slight redesign as well. Within Wallet, if we go to the menu in the upper right, you see we have a new option for autofill. We can now select which cards will allow us to autofill when we're purchasing something online. In addition to this, if you have a flight boarding pass added to Wallet, it will show the location of luggage if you're using an AirTag and show you that via Find My. It will also have the airport map ready for whichever airport you're at and allow you to see that indoors. You can also track and share flights as well using a live activity. So some nice updates there within Wallet. There's also an update for AirPods. You need to have the H2 chipset. These are AirPods Pro 2, but if we go into settings, you'll see they'll show up here. There we go. And if we go into these, we have some new options here. So if we scroll down, you'll see that we have camera control, camera remote. So we can press once or press and hold. If we press once and we have this enabled and we're using our AirPods, we can then start the camera. We can capture a photo or start or stop recording. If we continue to scroll down here, you'll see that we have an option for microphone. So we can use the left AirPod or the right AirPod. So that's something that's new as well. So you can capture high quality audio or video during conference calls and then record in high definition with the camera and then save that and then have someone else send that to you as well. So you can have all of the audio, and we'll talk more about that in the future. If we scroll down even further though, you can see AirPods Beta updates, and we now have a menu. We can turn it on here without going into the developer app, going in differently, or go into the developer settings rather, and it just makes it a little bit easier. So you have things such as battery and everything else, but it's just a little bit updated with those couple of options. Let's go into the camera here. I'll place this in my ear. We'll go into camera and we'll go into video and we'll press it once and it starts recording. So let's see if it works outside my ear. It doesn't, so it has to be in my ear. Put it in my ear, press it, and it stops recording. So it seems to work just like it's advertised. Now, a few weeks ago, we heard about all the accessibility features. There's more to talk about outside of that, but let's go over accessibility. If we go into the App Store, while I don't think they've added any yet, if we go into the App Store here, maybe we'll search for Apple, see if maybe they've added them. We'll just go to Apple, find some Apple apps here. We'll go into the Apple Store and scroll down, and something they'll have that's new is accessibility nutrition labels. So just like we have them for data linked to you and data not linked to you, we should have them for accessibility features in the future. Now, if we go into the accessibility menu, scroll down to where we have audio and visual, we have background sounds. Under background sounds, we have some new ones such as ocean. Of course, we've got the same ones we had before, but we have things such as rain, stream, night, fire, babble, steam, airplane, boat, and a few others as well. We also have an EQ now for that. Down at the bottom of the background sounds menu, we can turn on the EQ and then have it for focus or comfort. And then we can balance it left to right and adjust here as well. So this is something that's a little bit new and could be very helpful. If we go back out, we'll go down to our music haptics. We have some updates here. So if we turn on music haptics, we now have more customizations. We have intensity, such as light, medium, and strong, full mix, or vocals only. So if I want to maybe try out vocals, I'll be able to feel that, see what it's like. Under strong, go to full mix, and it's vibrating the phone. So that's now available with additional customizations. Sound recognition, you may have already noticed, where it says sound and name recognition now. It will now recognize a name. So if I turn this on, I can set up a name recognition. It says type the name that you want your iPhone to recognize. You can also record how you or someone else says it. It says when you're done, iPhone will notify you when someone says your name. So if we tap next, we can set that up and we'll just put in Aaron. We'll tap next and then we can record or hear what it says. So we'll turn this up a little bit. Aaron. That's close enough. You'll hear that again. We'll tap continue, and now it's done. So now it can recommend that or let you know when someone says that. So that's great. And let's see what it does if it works. Aaron. So in the notifications, you can see it says time sensitive, maybe Aaron, name recognized, or recognized a sound that may be Aaron. Now a little bit further down under speech, we have personal voice. Under personal voice, it's now easier to set this up. We can share it across devices just like before, but now it only takes 10 steps to set up, and it's supposed to sound more like you. So if we go into create a personal voice, it should only take 10 sentences aloud and generate the voice. So let me try it out here. We'll select English. It also works in Spanish as well now. We'll tap continue. It says find a quiet place, speak naturally, and focus on your performance. So we'll go ahead and do default length and tap continue. I'm creating a personal voice with my iPhone. So it says it's generating it now and it's creating a new personal voice. So it's going to take a little bit now. We'll get rid of maybe the other ones in the future, but I want to hear what this sounds like. Now toward the top, if we scroll down just a little bit to read and speak, under read and speak, we have something new called Accessibility Reader. It says read or listen to text in a full screen view and customize fonts, layouts, and background colors. If we turn this on, we now have the option to autoplay in Accessibility Reader. And to activate this, if I triple click the Power Sleep Wake button, you'll see there it goes into Accessibility Reader for home screen and app library. I can have it play back here.
12:58 a.m. Cellular, 2 of 4 bars. Signal strength, SSID, 3 of 3 Wi-Fi bars, 70% battery power, not charging.
So it gives me that information, and if I go to the menu in the upper right, we can customize the reader. Maybe I want to customize the theme. I can change the font to something that works better for me, whether that's Arial, San Francisco, maybe Times New Roman. Whatever works for you, you can change this and then have it bold the text if you'd like. We can have it loose or open, and whatever works for you. Again, you can fully customize this to give it a little bit better contrast, whatever is easier for you to read. So that's an option now. And again, you can use that if you want to. The phone is heating up quite a bit when it does that, but you have the option to use it now. Now back at the top under Vision, if we go to VoiceOver, scroll down a little bit, we have Braille. Braille has gotten some updates to help a lot of people now. I've heard from a few of you that you can't wait for these updates. So it says with Braille access, users can quickly take notes in Braille format and perform calculations using Nemeth Braille. So that's a Braille code often used in classrooms for math and science. Users can open Braille-ready formats directly from Braille Access and unlock a wide range of books and files previously created on a Braille note-taking device. And an integrated form of live captions allows users to transcribe conversations in real time directly on Braille displays. So if you have that, you have Braille access, lots of new updates in here. So if it's helpful for you, you can use equations and much more. So I'm glad to see Apple continues to add these and they're available now. However, I wouldn't test it out on your main device as it's not ready yet as far as the entire OS. If we scroll down a little further, go under eye tracking, we have some new options here for dwell control. In addition to that, there's now quick path support as well. So if you use dwell control, you can maintain your gaze still for a specified duration and it will perform the selected dwell action. So if you want to utilize that, you have that option now. If we go back out, scroll down just under eye tracking, we now have head tracking. So you'll see some options here for head tracking. It says assistive touch menu customizations. Would you like to customize the top level assistive touch menu to include dwell and scroll? So we'll tap no for now, and we have the option to use this with head tracking as well. In the future, you'll be able to use implants as well to help control your device. So you'll see pointer tracking mode relative to head, pointer speed when facing the screen edge, and it makes it a little bit easier if you're having problems moving your eyes, you can move your head as well. And then we have things such as open mouth, smile, stick out tongue, eye blink, scrunch nose, and more. So things to help you continue to use your device that way. Assistive Access also adds something here. So if we go down to the bottom here where we have Assistive Access, we also have a new option for apps. If we go into apps, we have TV now. So they've added the option for TV to allow you to use it directly from Assistive Access now. Another thing you're able to do is if you're maybe using someone else's device, you can now share accessibility settings. You no longer have to set that up device to device. You can sync to iCloud and then share it as well. So you can temporarily transfer your settings from your iPhone to another iPhone or iPad. So I think that's great. That way you don't have to set it up all over again, and you have those options now. Now, if we scroll down to where we have live captions now supports more languages. If we go into the current language, you can see everything it supports, but Apple has added India, Australia, UK, and Singapore for English, Mandarin Chinese for mainland China, Cantonese for mainland China and Hong Kong, Spanish for Latin America and Spain, French for France and Canada, Japanese, and then German for Germany, and then Korea. So we have all of those that have been added, and they should work well for you. Hopefully, much better options than we had before this time around. If you use the Passwords app, it now has a history, and then Dictation. If we go in and use that, you can now spell with Dictation. So if we spell LOVE, you'll see there, we spelled that out, and it worked just fine. Also, when you use the calculator, Apple says there's an option for an Arabic calculator as well. Within settings, if we go into screen time, there's also communication requests. So if you have communication safety or communication limits, there can be requests for that as well. So if you have that enabled for a child, they should have that option as well. Now, if we go over into the default weather app, we'll go into here down at the bottom, you'll see that we have the updated menu items. Tap on it here and we go back, and then also, we can now get weather information while we're connected to satellites instead of just Wi-Fi or cellular. So maybe if you're connected to Starlink or something else, it can update that information. Now, as far as the overall performance, there may be a few small tweaks elsewhere, but as far as the overall performance, you can see throughout that it's quite stuttery and laggy. the phone gets incredibly hot. It's super hot right now and very hot to the touch. I'm surprised I'm not getting an overheat warning. So it's definitely processing a lot in the background. It's an early beta, and so we've got that issue, but definitely very warm. However, the iPhone 11 just sitting here idle seems okay for now, but it doesn't have a lot of that Apple Intelligence feature update as well. But it's definitely using a lot of power to do just simple tasks at this point. As far as battery life, well, you've seen it drain during this video from almost 100% or about 100% down to 63 in just a couple hours, just showing you what's new in this as I've actually recorded this. So it's using a lot of power. As far as storage, let's take a look at that. Since I haven't looked at that since installing it, I would expect this to be taking up a lot more storage than before, but we'll let it load here, go to the bottom, and actually before we were taking up about 19 gigabytes. Now it's taking up a total of 20.21 gigabytes. So actually not too bad overall, where Apple Intelligence is taking up 6.58 gigabytes. Now, if you're wondering if you should install iOS 26 Beta 1, absolutely not on your main device. If this is your only device, I would highly recommend against it. Put it on an older device if you want to test it out, or wait for the public beta. It's incredibly laggy. I've had it respring on me. I've had apps freeze. I've had the touch not work. So in the app library, just scrolling, all of a sudden it would stop and not work. So definitely some odd issues there. One other thing I left out is if we scroll down here a little bit further, maybe we'll go into craft, press and hold, we get a little menu there as well. So that's something where you've got sort of that 3D touch menu that shows up where it didn't before. Now, as far as anything else, well, I don't even really want to bother running benchmarks. They're definitely going to be lower. The phone is so hot that it just wouldn't be worth the time at this point. So hopefully with Beta 2, it will calm down a little bit. And I would expect Beta 2 probably in a couple weeks. Maybe on the 23rd, we can expect that. Maybe we'll have a public release of iOS 18.5.1 as well, and maybe iOS 18.6 betas. Let me know if you've installed this, though, and what your overall experience and thoughts are about it. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.